The Cowboys are betting that him getting playing time early and often will help breed better fundamentals with NFL coaching. That's the hope. Whether or not that materializes or not, we're going to find out. Kyle Krabs of the Draft Network here to tell you everything you need to know about the Dallas Cowboys 2022 NFL Draft Class. Dallas entered this year's draft in a position where they needed to fill needs courtesy of the draft. They've had to make some hard financial decisions as far as the salary cap and personnel, and only had limited resources to replace some of those players, which put a lot of pressure on this year's draft class to fill those respective needs. And the team started at pick 24 with Tyler Smith, the offensive lineman from Tulsa. So whether he's filling in for Connor Williams at left guard or he's filling in for La'el Collins at right tackle, those are two starting players that the Cowboys lost this offseason after getting significant contract. Connor Williams with a significant contract with the Miami Dolphins, and La'el Collins as a cut casualty. So Smith, the concern is his consistency and ability to play with high fundamentals. The Cowboys are betting that him getting playing time early and often will help breed better fundamentals with NFL coaching. That's the hope. Whether or not that materializes or not, we're going to find out because he's going to play. Tyler Smith has to be a day one starter for the Cowboys out of need and necessity. I do not necessarily think that Sam Williams, the pass rusher from Ole Miss drafted at 56 overall, has to be a day one starter, but he has to be a day one contributor. My expectations for him is going to be that of a designated pass rusher early in the season and potentially commandeering a starting role down the stretch as the quote-unquote other defensive end opposite DeMarcus Lawrence, freeing up Micah Parsons to move around the defensive set as the Cowboys see fit. His explosiveness, Sam Williams as that is a dynamic of his game that I think will really fit well within the Cowboys' defensive structure and is going to bring some much-needed juice and explosiveness to the perimeter pass rush outside of Micah Parsons. Jalen Tolbert, the wide receiver from South Alabama, drafted at 88 overall. Of course, Amari Cooper was another departure this offseason for the Cowboys. They did bring back Michael Gallup and have CeeDee Lamb, but this team likes to run 11, and they like to throw the football with the growth that Dak Prescott has shown throughout the course of his career. So having a competent third receiver, especially somebody like Tolbert who tracks the ball successfully down the field over his shoulder and makes a lot of chunk plays in the passing game, he's probably going to be your fifth or sixth option in the passing game when it's all said and done between Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb and Ezekiel Elliott and Dalton Schultz. There's plenty of mouths to feed in this Cowboys offense, and Tolbert, because of that, is probably going to command a lot of one-on-ones. Don't expect a high-volume role for him, but I certainly do expect a productive role per target at this rookie stage, but I think his ceiling and his 3-year projection is much more favorable than his 2022 projection. Jake Ferguson, the tight end drafted at 129 overall, my pro comp for him was Dalton Schultz. And I think you can see Jake Ferguson take on that long-term forecast as well. I think he is somebody who, as he gets more comfortable and acclimated with playing his hand in the dirt at the NFL level and creating separation and playing physical on the routes against NFL defenders, might take him a little bit of time. My expectation for him is probably a tight end 2 or a tight end 3 for the Cowboys offense this year. But Dallas is going to have to continue to make some hard financial decisions against the cap, and that likely will include Dalton Schultz, who is set to play this year on the franchise tag. I look at the 5th round for Dallas. They made 4 picks in the 5th round, and I really like Matt Walletsko, the offensive tackle from North Dakota, this first one. I think he's probably a swing tackle early on. I do think he has better tools. I think he's got a better ceiling than Terrence Steele, who took some reps for the Cowboys last year at offensive tackle. Walletsko drafted at 155, went down to the Senior Bowl, had a good showing there. He's raw, but he's long. He's fairly dense. He's got room to add mass on his frame. I like him as a potential developmental starter for the Cowboys, but in year 1, he's going to be probably your swing tackle. Deron Bland, the cornerback from Fresno State, drafted at 167, is probably going to have to make his keep on special teams this year. The Cowboys brought in a lot of new blood to the cornerback room, and Bland being a 5th-round draft selection, he is physical. I think he tackles well. but that profiles more to me as somebody who to compete for starting or serving a game day role for Dallas, but that's not going to come in my mind with being a rookie starter at corner. It's going to come from him being competitive and tackling well in space and serving on the kick coverage units. There will be no special teams or defensive reps for Damon Clark, the linebacker from LSU drafted at 176. His play took a big step forward in 2021, and he's a prototypical linebacker with a prototypical build and athletic profile. But he had spinal fusion surgery, and he's not expected to play this season. He is, however, expected to make a full recovery. This is a long-term play for the Cowboys, and if he hadn't got hurt, he'd probably gotten picked 100 picks earlier. So I like this as a developmental starting linebacker type player for the Cowboys. I do see a pathway for playing time for John Ridgeway, the defensive tackle from Arkansas, picked at 178. I think he needs to get his pad level more consistent at the next level, but he has really bright flashes of stacking and disengaging at the point of attack. So if Ridgeway gets his pad level under control and more consistent, look for him on some early downs and short yardage to get on the field. But that will not happen unless he gets that leverage more consistent as a rookie. And then Devin Harper, the linebacker from Oklahoma State, drafted at 193. All the talk about Oklahoma State linebackers was focused towards Malcolm Rodriguez, and Harper, who I think, like DaRon Bland, is going to have to make his plays count and going to have to really showcase well on the kick coverage teams and on special teams if he's going to get on the field for the Dallas Cowboys in 2022. Thanks for checking out this Dallas Cowboys draft recap. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and keep tabs on all 32 teams, and visit thedraftnetwork.com for all your NFL draft, and college football needs.